So, good morning class. Nandito na tayo sa lesson 4 pa din, part 2. Technically, our lecture number 5. So, for this topic, we will discuss the positioning of your patient for diagnostic imaging examinations. So, for positioning, we are only talking about the general positions that we put your patients in. Iba pa to kumpara dun sa mga position na aralin nyo sa inyong third year. Next is dressing and undressing your patients. Then lastly are your bedpans and urinal. So, scope pa rin natin lahat to. Kasi of course, we take care of our patient. Now, punta tayo din sa patient positioning. So, kapag we are positioning the patient, it is very important that we follow kung ano yung standard and kung ano yung proper na positioning. Because of course, kung babalikan nyo nga yung lecture natin, it is your duty as a radiologic technologist to position your patients correctly. Kasi kasama siya sa pagpo-provide nyo ng patient care. And of course, it is a standard of a radiologic technologist to know your positioning. So, now we will discuss the basics of your patient positioning. So, ito yung mga general positioning na naaral nyo naman na based on your anatomy. So, you have your supine, your lateral recumbent, your prone, your Fowler's, your Sims, your Trendelenburg, and your lithotomy. So, when we talk about supine or dorsal recumbent, ito yung basically the patient is lying on their backside. So, they are laying flat with their arms at the side or placed comfortably on their body. So, saan po ginagamit usually si supine or dorsal recumbent? Kapag ang patient ay kukuha na natin ng abdominal x-rays, for general CT scan procedures, halos lahat ay nakahiga po. Wala po. Never pong nangyari na nakatayo si CT scan. So usually it's either supine or prone lang. Pero mas madalas po yung examination na supine because again, your CT scan is built to tawag dito, uh, is built to have an actual images of your body. Wait lang ha, sorry guys. So, ayun, going back, aside from that, usually ginagamit rin to sa mga patient na hindi makatayo. So, we take their radiographs, specifically their chest x-rays ng nakahiga. Pero ideally, dapat nakatayo talaga si patient. But again, if limited ang study, if hindi talaga siya makatayo, of course, you place your patient in the supine or dorsal recumbent. Aside from that, MRI, general MRI procedures, lahat yan supine. So, tuwing MRI, ang pasyente lahat laging naka-supine. Kasi nga, of course, your MRI also provides a 360-degree view of your body, your axial imaging. So, ayun, ginagamit si supine. Next is, tawag dito, pelvic and lumbar x-rays. So, usually, ideally, dapat nakahiga si pelvis at si lumbar x-ray. Okay? So, outside the radiography, ginagamit po natin si supine or dorsal recumbent sa surgeries. Bakit? Of course, mas komportable si pasyente kung sinusurgery siya ng naka-supine lang. But of course, it depends. Kasi kung nasa likod na part ni pasyente yung surgery, of course, kailangan siyang i-prone. But general surgical procedures, ginagawa siya ng supine or dorsal recumbent. Aside from that, yung mga doktor. Kapag nag-physical exam sila sa inyo, lagi kayong nakahiga. Tapos, aside from that, kasama din dyan yung ECG. Hindi kayo pwede mag-ECG guys nang nakahiga. Nakahiga, sorry. Nang nakatayo. Hindi pwede mag-ECG nang nakatayo. Pero, kailangan si patient ay nakahiga at walang any metal. So, during ECG procedures, kasi ginagawa rin siya ng RadTech, kailangan ang patient ay hindi tayo at pwede namang nakaupo si patient pero kailangan walang metal regardless. So, supine or nakaupo pag ECG, walang metal si patient. Next is of course kapag CPR ang pasyente, yan, nakasupine po tayo. Hindi tayo pwede tawag dito, CPR ng nakatalikod. Okay? Wala kayong niro-resuscitate sa likod. Now, Next is, of course, kapag nagka-catheter kayo, your gonadal anatomy, your reproductive anatomy. So, pag reproductive catheterization ay nasa harapan, hindi naman kayo pwede mag-catheter ng penis and ng vagina na nakatalikod sa inyo yung pasyente. Paano nyo i-shoot, di ba? Next is, of course, kapag nagkukuha tayo ng dugo, yung mga nagdo-donate ng dugo, naka-dorsal recumbent sila or supine. Next is the lateral recumbent. Basically, the patient lies on their side. So, of course, ginagamit natin tong lateral recumbent sa mga lateral imaging. For example, yung dorsal recumbent kasi or yung supine nyo, ginagamit siya for AP imaging. Now, lateral recumbent, basically, anything na naka-lateral view for X-ray, yan ang ginagamit natin. Okay? Next po, aside from general X-ray procedures na naka-lateral, ginagamit natin siya for recovery. Ginagamit din natin si lateral recumbent kapag may ipapuncture sa likod ni patient. Aside from that, kapag nag-i-induce tayo ng labor or yung pregnant po ay kailangan ng ay manganganak na. So usually nilalagay sila sa lateral recumbent position kasi mas comfy. Lalo kapag ilalagay na yung tawag dito. Nakalimutan ko yung tawag dun eh. Pero yung para hindi na maramdaman ni patient yung sakit. Babalikan ko kayo guys sa exam kapag naalala ko siya. So lastly, of course, kapag may surgery, lalo kapag sa likuran, hindi naman, mahirap na naman si patient kung naka-prone siya, di ba? So during recovery, lateral recumbent siya kung nasa likod yung sinurgery ni doc. Next one, prone. The patient lies flat on their stomach with the head turned to one side, arms placed at the side or under the head. So for this one, ginagamit natin ang inyong prone kapag PA naman yung view kapag ang tama ng inyong x-rays ay palikod papunta sa may harapan. So, ginagamit natin to generally again for x-rays na may PA position. So, ginagamit din natin ang PA projection for barium enema for contrast study. Then, aside from that, gumagamit din tayo ng prone position sa MR at CT. So, may mga, tawag dito, may mga procedures sa MRCT na kailangan yung pasyente nyo ay naka-prone. Aside from that, ang ginagamit natin yung prone outside radiography pag, of course, again, surgery. Specifically, kapag spine yung surgery, of course, kailangan nakatalikod si patient, ay naka-prone si patient. Then, next, minsan, may mga pasyente na hindi nakakahinga po kapag nakasupine. So, minsan, mas nakakahinga sila kapag nakadapa sila, kapag naka-prone. So, may mga ganyang pasyente po. So, may mga cases before na yung COVID-19 patients, mas nakakahinga sila kapag nakadapa kaysa nakahiga ng dire-diretso or kapag naka-fowler. So, ayaw nilang nakaangat. So, mas nakakahinga sila kapag naka-prone yung position nila. Aside from that, ginagamit natin si prone kapag yung stomach natin may nararamdaman. Di ba tayo in general sa bahay? Kapag masakit yung tiyan natin, minsan, or madalas, ang ginagawa natin is dumadapa tayo kasi kapag may pressure yung stomach, hindi natin nararamdaman yung sakit talaga ng abdomen natin, di ba? So yun, dun ginagamit yung prone positions. Next po, Fowler's position. So for Fowler's position, the head is higher than the feet. So usually 45 to 60 degrees ang higher. Okay? Ang head higher than the feet. Now, minsan ang foot for Fowlers, ang legs for Fowlers naka-straight lang. Pero minsan nagkakaroon ng slightly bent kasi yun nga merong mga positions ang pasyente na mas comfy sila kapag naka-bend kaysa sa naka-straight yung paa niya. So, ginagamit natin yung Fowlers or semi-Fowlers position kapag ang patient natin ay hindi makahinga sa supine. So, may mga pasyente po na hindi makahinga or nalulunod kapag nakadapa or nakahiga ng tuluyan. So, ang ginagawa, inaangat natin. So, ginagamit din natin ang Fowler's position. In general, for example, ang patient nyo ay may GERD. So, yung acid reflux, hindi siya pwedeng umangat sa heart kasi makakaranas yung patient nyo na heartburn, so ginagamit natin yung semi-Fowler's position. So semi-Fowler's position, ito yung ginagamit din natin. Ito yung pinaka-ideal na gamitin sa chest x-ray ng pasyenteng hindi makatayo. Kasi kailangan guys, naka-elevate yung lungs and para mas lalong bumaba yung diaphragm kapag nag-chest x-ray tayo. So ideally, iaangat nyo yung head ng patient para ma-achieve niya yung Fowler's position. But again, if hindi talaga kaya ni pasyenteng huminga ng naka-Fowler, kailangan nyo pa rin i-shoot yung x-ray ng chest x-ray ng naka-AP na view. So, ideally lang, sa mga pasyenteng hindi makatayo, kailangan naka-Fowlers tayo. Usually, ginagamit din natin si Fowlers sa COPD patients. Aside from that, ginagamit din natin siya sa kapag ang pasyente ay kailangan nating pakainin, NGT, yung tube connecta na sa nose nila, dun natin nilalagay yung food nila, yung total food na ginagamit for them. So, yon kailangan naka-Fowlers kasi of course doon malulunod si patient. Next one po, Sims position. The patient lies on their left side with the left arm extended behind the body and the right knee towards the chest. So, sa Sims position, ginagamit po natin siya generally for x-ray procedures na kailangan ng anal catheterization. For example, triple CT scan contrast, barium enema, lahat po na ang route ay may access sa anal sphincter natin. So, yan, ang patient position dapat ay naka-Sims position. So yon again, the Sims position, it is used to access the anal sphincter of your patient, specifically for radiographic procedures na gumagamit ng catheterization. So yun, generally, the Sims position is used for rectal examination. So regardless if radiography man or hindi, we use the Sims position for rectal examination. So sorry guys kapag medyo pa-pause, may mga ginagawa kasi akong may inuutos sa akin. So yun. Next is your Trendelenburg position. So for your Trendelenburg position, the feet is higher than the head. So based on the description, the patient is placed on their back with the head lower than the feet. So again, the head should be lower than the feet sa Trendelenburg. Tapos yung elevation ng legs and tiltation ng body ay nasa 15 to 30 degree angle. So, sir, tuwing kailan ginagamit si Trendelenburg? For x-rays, for general radiography, ginagamit natin siya for abdominal imaging or pelvic imaging. So, minsan kasi yung air, kailangan nating pababain or yung inyong contrast, kailangan nating pababain on a specific part of your stomach. So, kailangan si patient ay tinetrendelenburg position. So, in general, Trendelenburg is always used for shock. Bakit? So, tuwing nagkaka-experience kasi ng shock ang pasyente, bumababa ang oxygen level sa utak nila. So, usually, pine-place natin yung ulo ng pasyente ng mas mababa sa paa nila kasi need ng oxygen management sa kanilang utak. So, kailangan natin pababain yung oxygen papunta sa kanilang utak. So, during shocks, always, hindi naman always, during a shock, if a patient is experiencing shock, place your patient in a Trendelenburg position. Aside from that, may ibang surgery na nagre-recover si patient kapag naka-place siya sa Trendelenburg position. Fainting, ginagamit din siya. Then, laparoscopic surgery. So, kapag we are talking about your gallbladder, your abdomen in general, so okay din na ginagamit si Trendelenburg position for recovery and for surgery. Next one is the lithotomy position. So the patient lies on their back with hips and knees flexed and legs spread apart and supported by stirrups. So tuwing kailan po natin ginagamit si lithotomy position? So usually kapag transvaginal or transrectal ang ultrasound, yan yung ginagamit. Pero basically si lithotomy mas ginagamit siya sa general use. So tuwing kailan ginagamit si lithotomy position for general use? For birth, diba? Kapag manganganak ang pasyente, ginagamit natin ang lithotomy position. Aside from that, cystoscopy. So, sa cystoscopy, we are talking about your urinary bladder. So, mas madali po ang access kapag gumagamit tayo ng lithotomy position. when during a cystoscopy procedure. So, next po, dressing and undressing the patient. So, wait guys. So, yun guys, generally, when we are dressing and undressing the patient, madami po kasing pinagkaiba-iba ang pasyente, di ba? Nasabi ko naman na sa inyo yung mga types ng pasyente. So, iba-iba rin ang needs nila. So, for this discussion, ito po yung ways on how we will dress and undress the patient. So, for your return demo after the examination, we will be dressing and undressing your patient, specifically the non-ambulatory patients, and may mga patient na may sakit yung or paralyzation on either sides of their body para matutunan nyo. So, itong for discussion, first we will tackle about your OPD patient, your outpatients. So, basahin ko lang muna. For outpatients, when a patient comes to the radiography department from outside the hospital, he is frequently required to remove all or some items of clothing before a radiographic examination can be performed. The RT is usually the person who receives the patient and informs the patient which items of clothing are to be removed. So again, kapag OPD yung patient, of course, na-explain ko naman na sa inyo to, na ang ipapatanggal niya lang ay kung ano yung part na ma-obstruct yung image. For example, for pelvic imaging. So, for pelvic imaging, si patient naka-slacks. Tapos yung slacks niya may zipper at button. So, ang ipapatanggal mo lang ay yung slacks, yung mismong slacks lang niya, tapos bibigyan mo pa rin siya ng patient gown. Pero hindi mo ipapatanggal yung top ni patient kasi hindi naman siya kasama sa x-ray mo. Gets po? So, yun yung papatanggal mo sa kanya. Specific lang. You will instruct your patient na, sir, ang tatanggalin lang po natin ay ang inyong slacks. So, the patient discomfort or embarrassment can be lessened if the RT will approach the situation in a courteous and professional manner. The patient should be taken to the specific place, dressing, changing, or cubicle room where they are expected to disrobe. So, minsan kasi gaya nun, for example, pelvic imaging. Laging, ito madalas itong nangyari. Pelvis and lumbar imaging. Si patient na lalaki, yung boxer niya may botones. Tapos wala siyang underwear sa loob. Tapos yung pantalon niya nga may zipper. So, ang pinaka-underwear niya na yung boxer shorts niya. So, minsan, si patient, kailangan mo talaga siyang tanongin na, sir, ano po ba yung kapag pelvic imaging? So, kailangan mo siyang tanongin na, sir, ano po ba yung gamit nating underwear? Boxers po ba or briefs? Kasi kailangan natin tanggalin kapag boxers na may botones dahil makikita po yung botones. So, hindi ka po pwedeng mahiya-hiya or hindi mo pwedeng gawing weird yung situation na tatawa-tawa ka kasi kailangan mo ipatanggal yung boxers niya. And kahit naman may patient gown, makikita mo pa rin yung ari ni patient kasi nga, tawag dito, yung position for pelvic imaging is medyo somewhat weird pag tinignan mo. So, it can make the patient uncomfy. So, you need to act normal and you need to act professional. Kasi, syempre, it weird na nga sa kanila na wala silang underwear. Tas, medyo awkward ka pa. Or, yun nga, hindi ka pwedeng maging obvious na awkward na, hello, ngayon lang ako nakakita ng ng lalaki, ng ari. So, hindi po pwedeng ipakita nyo na awkward kayo kasi lalong magiging embarrassed si patient. Lalo siya magiging uncomfy. So, ang gagawin mo lang ay gawin mo yung work mo. Next is, of course, kayo rin ang magtuturo sa pasyente kung saan sila magtatanggal ng damit. Okay? Hindi po pwedeng, ay ma'am, patanggal po ng inyong bra at ng t-shirt nyo. Tapos iiwan mo na siya dun sa loob. Mamaya, dun talaga siya sa gitna ng room magtanggal ng bra at t-shirt. So, pwede kang makasuhan ng sexual assault kahit hindi mo naman siya hinawakan. Kasi hindi mo tinuro sa kanya kung nasan yung dressing area, saan yung proper dressing area. So, kailangan tuturo nyo yun sa pasyente. Next is ambulatory patient. So, wala tong pinagkaiba sa OPD patient, sa outpatients. So, again, for OPD ambulatory, they are patients who can walk. So, the RT should show how to close the door. So, ito basically, tinuturo lang ulit sa inyo. I will just go through it. So, the RT should show how to close the door or draw the curtain of the dressing room and cubicle. So, of course, tuturo mo kung paano nilalock or kung hindi man nalalock yung pinto, yung curtain, paano isasara. Then, the RT should clearly explain where the examination gown is. So, kailangan mong sabihin na Sir, nasa loob po ng cabinet, kuha na lang kayo ng isa. Or, ma'am, yung nakasabit dyan, yun yung gown natin, yun yung gagamitin nyo, okay? Next is some gowns open at the back. So, the RT should teach the patient how to properly use the gown. So, may mga gown tayo. Actually, most of the gowns sa hospital, sa likod po talaga yung bukasan niya. So, may mga pasyente na ang gagawin, yung opening ng gown ay nasa harapan, inusuot nila. So, ibig sabihin nun, kapag sinuot nila paharap yung gown, makikita yung for example, a female patient, makikita yung breast nila. And for example, kunwari, pinatanggal mo yung, nga yung underwear ni lalaking patient. So, makikita yung reproductive organ ni male. Kasi, yung opening nasa harapan. Ay, yung opening na, tama, nasuot nila yung gown na yung opening nasa harapan. Dapat nasa likuran siya. So, of course, dapat conscious kayo na sabihin na, for example, Sir, after nyo po magtanggal ng slacks and ng boxers, isuot po natin yung gown. And yung bukas po ay dapat nasa likuran. Okay? Tapos, ang palatandaan nyo dyan, kung hindi maintindihan ng pasyente, yung mga patient gown nyo may mga logo yan sa harapan. So, sasabihin nyo na, Sir, yung logo dapat nasa dibdib mo or nasa harapan mo. Hindi po dapat siya nasa likuran. So, yun yung sasabihin mo. Next is, the patient should be supplied with hangers for his clothing. Of course, hindi naman niya yun pwede ilagay lang sa lapag kasi madumi yung lapag. So, dapat meron siyang hanger or any type of patungan kung saan niya safely mapapatong yung damit niya at hindi madudumihan. Next is, the patient should be informed where to leave his clothing. Yun nga, either dun sa hanger or dun sa mga patungan na nakaprovide sa inyo. Dun yung ipapalagay yung clothing ni patient. Next is, purses, jewelry, and other valuables should be treated with special care. So, of course, again, sabi nga natin sa ating previous lesson, yung mga bagay na hindi naman valuable for us, malay nyo, valuable pala sa pasyente. So, kailangan special care. Hindi lang dapat sa purses, sa jewelry, and sa mga wallet. So, in general to guys. So, lahat ng gamit ng pasyente, mas maingat talaga dapat tayo. So, aside from that, of course, special ingat lang dun sa mga gold, sa mga jewelry nga. So, of course, baka kayo yung masisi. So, for trauma patient, cutting away the garment may have to be done on trauma patient. So, minsan, wala tayong choice na gupitin yung damit ni pasyente kasi mas kailangan nating i-save yung life niya. So, this only happens sa inyong mga trauma patient. Hindi po kayo pwede gumupit ng damit ng isang OPD patient kasi mamaya, paano siya uuwi? Ginupit niyo yung damit niya. 'Di ba? So, again, you only do this for trauma. So, for cutting the patient garments, kailangan po nagka-cut kayo along the seams if needed and with patient's consent. Bakit? Doon kayo gugupit sa, when we talk about seams, dun, alam niyo yung tahi, kung saan naka-pattern yung damit, doon kayo dapat gugupit. Hindi po kayo pwedeng gumupit sa gitna, hindi po kayo pwedeng gumupit lang kung saan random nyo gusto, okay? And kailangan may consent ni patient kung gising naman siya. Kasi, of course, again, sabi ko nga sa inyo, mamaya, yun pala yung favorite t-shirt niya na bigay ng kanyang lola pang namayapa nung panahon pa ni Kopong-Kopong. So, mahihirapan siyang, alam mo yun, i-let go yung damit na yon. So, with respect to the patient's property, kailangan gupitin niyo siya along the seams. Para if ever na gusto niya pang i-save yung damit or kailangan niya pa rin yung damit, pwede niyang ipa-repair, di ba? So, do not throw away the clothing, put it in a safe place or a bag. Again, yun nga, may mga significant things na it may seem insignificant sa inyo. So, kailangan you always protect your patient's belongings. Next, of course, your pediatric patients. Kapag huhubaran nyo yung pasyenteng bata, ask permission for the patients or familiar adults. Explain to the patient or the guardian how the child should be dressed for the procedure. Kasi guys, usually for pediatric patients, ang dapat nagtatanggal ng damit yan ay yung magulang. Okay? So, i-instruct nyo lang sila. Ma'am, ano po yung ito po yung tatanggalin natin. And of course, kailangan dun pa rin sila sa dressing room. So, kahit bata yan, regardless, bata matanda, dapat na sa dressing room sila nagpapalit ng damit. Next part, for PWD patients, you should start from the top of the body, then place a long examination gown on the patient, instruct them to loosen the belt buckles, buttons, or hooks around the waist, and slip the trouser over the hips. If the patient can do this, reach under the gown and pull the trouser down over the hips. Have a patient sit down, squat down in front of the patient, and gently pull the clothing over the legs and feet to remove it. So if the patient is not able to help, call for an assistant. So basically, kapag kailangan nyo tanggalin yung pantalon and top part ng PWD na patient, yung mga hindi makatayo or non-ambulatory na patients, magsisimula kayo sa top. Kasi mas, for example, ang affected kay patient ay yung leg niya. So, kailangan ang tanggalin nyo ay yung, unahin yung tanggalin nyo nasa taas kasi mas madali siya. So, next is, after nyo tanggalin yung top ng pasyente, magpapatong kayo ng gown. Then, after nyo magpatong ng gown, unti-untiin yung tatanggalin yung pantalon ni patient. Okay? So, yan po ay when we are talking about undressing. Tapos, for example, si PWD, ang affected side niya ay left arm. So, kapag ganun, mahirap, kailangan nyo pa rin tanggalin una yung top. So, for top, ang kailangan yung unang tanggalan ay yung stronger side kesa sa weaker side. So, mas una nyong tatanggalan yung stronger kesa sa weaker kasi mas madali po siyang tanggalin doon sa weaker side kapag may assist na ni patient. Kesa unahin mo tanggalin yung weaker side, sobrang mahihirapan si pasyente. Okay, imbes na isa-slide mo na lang doon sa weaker side ni patient, mahihirapan pa siya kasi yun yung inuna mo. So again, always remove, always undress from the weaker side of your patient. Now, next is redressing the patient. So, basahin ko lang ulit to. Redress, slide clothing over the feet, legs, as far as the hips while the patient is sitting and still wearing examination gown. Have the patient stand and pull over the clothing over the hips if the patient can stand. If the patient is not able to pull the clothing over the hips, have an assistant raise the patient off the chair. Then, remove the patient's arms from the sleeves of the gown. Have the patient hold the gown over in their chest and carefully pull the shirt over the head and put it on the sleeve at a time. So when outside items of clothing are on the patient, remove the gown under the clothes. So basically, madami siyang sinabi. So, ang sinasabi lang naman, when we are redressing the patient, ang uunahin niyo naman ay yung weaker side bago kayo pumunta sa may stronger side. So, regardless if leg or upper extremities ang apektado, kailangan you always start with the a weaker side compared to the stronger side. So, again, when we talk about undressing the patient, you always start with the stronger. When we are talking about redressing, kapag binabalik na yung damit, kailangan magsisimula kayo sa weaker side ni patient. Next is the disabled patient. So for disabled patient, the patient is on gurney or radiographic table. Cover the patient with a draw sheet and have the examination gown ready. So removing the clothing from the unaffected side first. Again, yan yung sinasabi ko sa inyo. Kapag disabled si patient or may apektado, always remove the clothing. Always undress the patient from the unaffected side, then the affected side. So, next po, the patient is on gurney or the radiographic table. Again, paulit-ulit lang to guys, na, pero iba-ibang ano lang to, iba-ibang version. So, basically, regardless of the disability, kailangan you always start from the unaffected or stronger na side. So, skip na natin yan. So, this again, for redressing naman, for redressing your disabled patient, always start from the, of course, weaker side. So, for patient with an IV, kapag meron silang mga IV tube, of course, if the gown must be changed, slip the clothing from the unaffected side. So, again, magsisimula kayo magtanggal from the affected side, papunta sa unaffected. Magsisimula kayo magtanggal sa unaffected, papunta sa affected na side. So, medyo mahirap lang tong intindihin kapag ganito, recording. But, before you perform your return demo and during the lecture, magde-demo naman ako kung paano kayo magde-dress and undress. Okay? Next are your bedpans and urinals. So bedpans used for patients who are bedridden. These pans are used to collect feces. In some cases, the same pan is also used to collect urine. So nakakita na kung nakakita na kayo ng ganito, itong mga pan na to ginagamit siya kapag napupoopsie na si patient. So kapag pampupo siya generally. Pero minsan, ito na rin yung ginagamit for wee-wee ng mga female patient. Kasi mahal din talaga yung urinal na pang babae. So, next is the patient urinal. So, ito yung urinals. They are used for patients who are bedridden. The urinals are used to collect the patient's urine. So, yung mas wider na mouth, yung may naka-open, yan yung pang female. Itong may takip, ito yung sa male urinal. So, next po, assisting the patient. Although this is not the duty list of radiographers, hindi nyo kailangang, technically, hindi kayo ang number one frontliner when it comes to assisting the patient kapag natatay sila using a urinal or naiihi sila using pag natatay sila using a bedpan and naiihi sila using a urinal, hindi nyo yun duty. Hindi siya kasama sa job description nyo, hindi siya basically kasama dun sa standard ng isang RATEC. However, of course, kailangan pa rin natin siyang matutunan kasi just in case sa radiographic room na tae or naiihi si patient, alam mo kung paano mo gagamitin yung bedpan and yung urinal. So although this is not the duty list of radiographers, it is necessary to learn the correct procedure. Sometimes a radiographer may be required to do so in cases of emergencies. So of course, you should assist the patient. So before assisting the patient, you should wash your hands and get tissues and the bedpan. So kailangan ready kayo. Next is of course to wear gloves. Hindi nyo po alam kung ano yung mga pwedeng makakahawang sakit sa inyo through their bodily substance. So kailangan lagi kayong naka-gloves. Next is place one hand under the lower back and ask the patient to raise their hips. Tapos ilalagay mo na yung pan under the patient hip and cover the patient. After nyong i-cover si patient, remove your gloves and wash your hands. Tapos when the patient is done, papalit ka na ulit ng gloves. Dapat po iba yung ginamit mong gloves before mag-poop si patient and after mag-poop si patient. So put on gloves again and help the patient off the bedpan. So next, remove the bedpan and cover and dispose yung mismong ano niya, substance. Then offer the patient paper towels. So hindi po kayo magpupunas ng pupo ni patient. Si patient na kung kaya niyang igalaw yung kamay niya. Pero pag hindi, call for a family member. And after that, you remove your gloves. So that would be all for the lesson number 4 for part 2. Technically, our lesson number 5. So again, guys, good luck on your prelim exam on Thursday. And next week, we will have your return demo. And I will need you guys to immediately pass your portfolio after doing your return demo. And I would need to collect your index card on Monday and Wednesday, the week after your examination. So thank you guys. I hope you pass your prelim exam and watch this recording thoroughly. Thank you.